Holy fuck, we're live!
Welcome to Thunderers. I'm Brian Hinton. This is Janelle.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Feist, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology.
And do tech
good. Boom!
Janelle's kind of falling apart.
Janelle is broken. Hey, we're here, everybody, at VueConf US 2019.
18?
19.
Oh, 19. Okay.
19, yeah. And we're live here all day. We're going to be live tomorrow as well. And we are in Tampa.
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida? Okay.
At the Strand Center, right?
Yeah, we are.
And it's beautiful here. There's great food nearby. This building's awesome. There's a river walk nearby. Come check us out. And who are we with right now?
We're with special guest Jacob Schatz.
There was a little thing in the beginning right before the show, and Janelle's permanently broken.
Something's wrong with Janelle. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Janelle, what was the other name?
Janet.
Janet, yeah, who knows?
Janet.
Janice.
Yeah. Jacob, for our audience, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
So, I am a staff engineer at GitLab.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, GitLab.
Yeah.
We have a startup called Meltano within GitLab. So it's a startup within a startup.
Oh.
It's all data science stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So jumping in some Jupyter notebooks there.
We integrate with Jupyter Notebooks.
Oh,
Yes,
stuff.
Jupyter Notebook.
Accordion guy.
Who's the accordion guy?
Joey Davila.
Joey Davila, the recording guy. He's a big advocate of Jupyter notebooks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're integrating with Jupyter. So Meltano actually stands for Model, Extract, Load, Analyze, Notebook, Orchestrate, transforms in the two. But Analyze, Notebook, Orchestrate. So the notebook is Jupyter Notebooks that we integrate with.
Sweet.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so awesome.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because data science is like usually so far removed from front end development. But this is do you have a tissue?
Yeah, sure.
I could have blown it.
No,
I'll be right back.
So do you actually have then the Jupyter interface that people within this whole tool can actually just see the Jupyter notebook itself?
So yeah, what we're doing is thank you so much. I'm gonna blow my nose live on this.
Thank you.
That's all right. For
Yeah, maybe
Janelle's
if everybody
ears.
blows their nose.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
There we go.
Wait, I don't think
Okay, I'll make it.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah, so like Jupyter,
You missed out.
I know. I didn't have a tissue.
you can get one. We'll do it. No.
Yeah, we try again.
So we're taking version control and we're adding it to data science, which data science is not normally version controlled.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. And Python notebooks are version controlled.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's one of the things that
Great value to that.
Yeah. We're adding software development principles to the data science world.
Huh.
So it's really cool. It's a really, really cool thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I'm a staff engineer at GitLab. I've been there for 3 years. I started the front end team at GitLab. So I was front end developer number 1, employee number 29, and then we hired a bunch of people, and then I helped lead the UX team, and then started the Meltano team. I led the Meltano team for a while, and now I'm back to an individual contributor.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been busy for the past 3 years. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So why back to a IC role?
So I mean, I always view myself as like a person that just does whatever needs to get done. So like I consider myself a very good developer, and there's development that needs to be done. We have a small team. We're only 8 people. Right now, and there's a lot of really cool development to be done. So yeah, it's a really cool thing.
You gotta say, I am a good developer.
Yeah, I am. What did I say?
I consider myself.
I consider myself. Yeah, no, I am a good developer.
There you go.
I
Yes,
am
own
a good
it!
developer.
Yeah.
Aw, you made my soul smile.
Sorry.
And do you have is your talk today or tomorrow?
Today, it's in like 40 minutes or something.
Oh wow.
As you seem pretty
Do you wanna-
calm.
Do you want to
Yeah.
practice?
Yeah, should I practice?
Yeah,
I don't
let's
know.
do it right
Wait,
now.
I'm gonna show so the people will see. This is
Okay.
the thing I was gonna do on stage. You can tell me if this is gonna work or not.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
good.
this is the
We're so
great.
excited.
Okay.
this is the stupidest thing ever. But
I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a trick that works on kids, but also adults.
Okay.
One of those things.
Yeah.
All right, so I want you to take your hands, put them out like this.
Okay.
Wait, like this?
Yeah, like that, and
Okay.
cross them over like this,
Okay.
under like that, and then pull your hands through like that.
Okay.
Good. Now look at your fingers. Okay, concentrate on your fingers. Now move your index finger on your left hand. Can you do that? Okay, now move your index finger on your right hand.
Okay.
Now, your pinky down here, see if you can move your pinky on your right hand.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Now, look at this. Okay, I want you to do this.
What?
What?
Couldn't do it.
Hey, what did you do?
That's a dumb trick for that adults like to. Yeah.
This?
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd blow your mind a little bit.
Yeah. Magic.
I'm
Do
confused.
what?
I obviously
What
knew
is
it
All right, so you go on, dude.
perfectly
Yeah.
well.
Do that and then
Cool.
move my fingers.
You move your finger. You
Yeah.
move the ring finger on the right. Okay, there you go. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go like this.
Oh my God, yeah. That takes a lot of brain power.
Pero why?
Wait.
Pero como?
Whatever.
How do you do?
Body coordination.
I
What is
told
that?
you.
No, that's not body coordination. That's a stupid magic trick.
That's
That's what that is. Yeah.
Well, it's a good way to loosen people up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, because everybody goes, I don't know how the fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It should make you say like WTF.
Yeah. This guy knows something.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
You could say it's phenomenal. Actually.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Wait, I think your talk might be tired.
Phenomenal
Oh.
design patterns.
Oh!
Phenomenal design patterns.
Look at that. Love it.
This is so much fun.
So thanks.
Yeah.
So what kind of design patterns? Tell us what makes them phenomenal.
So have you ever heard? Are you familiar with like the Gang of Four book design patterns?
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So design patterns. There's a.
I am not.
Okay.
Please let me know.
Oh yeah. Let our audience know.
Yeah.
So there is in software programming, there's these things called design patterns, which are these like ways of programming that make certain things easier. So it's like solving a common problem.
Mhm.
So it might be, there's a design pattern that people typically use for like when you want to incorporate undo. Like undo is a tricky thing to write. Like it seems like an easy thing, but it's actually pretty tricky. And so I'm going to show how you can take some of those design patterns and use them in Vue.js. It's a little bit of a more advanced talk, but yeah.
Hmm.
That's
That's
cool.
cool.
I love design patterns.
Like for example, do you mind giving us like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like one or I mean I don't want to give away your talk, but like,
No, absolutely. So there's a design pattern called the command design pattern.
Mhm.
And the command design pattern encapsulates like an action in like a reusable kind of like you think of it as a capsule. So then when you write a class that uses the command design pattern, you have one method called execute.
Okay.
And so all you do is you put your business logic in there. So where in Vuex, you would create an action. You think of that button that you click is almost tied directly to the action. It's like kind of like tightly coupled to that action. And instead, what you could do is you could create a design pattern with the command design pattern. When you click the button, it executes that command, pushes it onto an array of history, and then you can easily undo that. Because if you create an instance of a class, you've got like time frozen there because it's that instance of the class. Whatever happens in that class instance stays in there. So yeah, I don't know. You'll see it in the talk. It's
So Las Vegas of patterns then.
yeah.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, whatever happens in the command. I like that.
Wow.
Well done. You
Yeah.
feel free to work that into your
Yeah.
talk.
Oh, it's going in there. Yeah. I should make a sign because you can't hear me.
Oh,
No,
we
we
can
can
turn on the
only, like-
volume.
Okay.
We got a volume
I love
knob over there.
So I'll hold up a sign that just says Las Vegas.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, we would love that. I
Okay.
would literally scream in the middle of
I'll
whatever's
do it. Yeah.
next.
I'll
All right, please.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
absolutely.
So y'all, if you hear me scream the next episode, it's because Las Vegas. Just saying.
Yeah.
So one question I really like to ask is there's a lot of effort that goes into making these presentations. Can you give us kind of a behind the scenes look of like how long it took you to make this talk
Oh, yeah.
and what oopses did you suddenly delete all your files or what?
Well, like I'm not Adam Jar level or Greg Pollock level because I've been watching their talks, and every time I would see one of their talks, I would go to them afterwards and I'd be like, "Teach me Keynote." Like I want to know. Well, first I didn't know how they were doing the animations in the first place. I said, "How do you do it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's all Keynote." And I was like, "There's no way. That's all Keynote. There's no freaking
Yeah,
way."
the magic move.
Yeah. He's like, "It's all magic move," and I was like, "No way." So I practiced, with Keynote for a while.
Oh,
It's
it's
still
gonna be
not
really
up
good
to the
this
top.
time.
Yeah, I try to it's not necessarily good, but I'm trying to pack it with as many animations as I possibly can so that it's just very, I got to one up Adam Jar. So yeah.
Nice, all right.
This is like Fight Club of presentations
Yeah,
going on here.
Love it.
First rule.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Don't talk about
Jeez, that was 5, y'all. That was
Keynote.
right, Keynote. But Yeah, so like I proposed the talk. I talked it over with Chris Ritz for a while.
Yeah.
And we talk about like what works well in a talk. And then, you know, like we have certain ideas about like what you should put in a talk, what you shouldn't put in a talk.
Yeah.
Like you're not necessarily trying to teach everybody like an entire Bible's worth of stuff.
No.
What you're trying to get them to do is to like learn enough that they'll go look it up later.
Like a movie trailer.
Like a movie trailer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Can you do that? Like, you know, in a movie. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
but
a
only
world
if you
full of
speak like that
dreams.
for the rest of the talk. That's it.
Then I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna be all hoarse because I'm gonna be like, in a movie. Yeah. No, but yeah, so like the goal is to like make it simple enough for an advanced talk that anybody can understand it, but at the same time, like make it complex enough that people will not know it and they'll want to look it up later. That sort of thing.
Ooh, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
So how long did it take you to get this talk together then? Was it a couple days?
It takes me, like what I do is I do it in little bits and pieces
Yeah.
over like a month or something like that. You know, I'll do a little bit here, I'll do a little bit there. And then because like, it's really important for me to come up with like good examples of something that would be useful.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to say this is the command design pattern, like you could easily go into the Gang of Four book and use the example that's in there, but it should be like something that works
A
with
real
you.
world.
And so I do a lot of thinking on like what's a really good meaty example, you know?
What do you think is like one of your favorite ways to like learn something new? I know we talked to Crystal and she likes to make like games to learn something. So what is your go-to?
That's a
thing
good
to make?
question. Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that like I used to read a lot of books, and I think at a certain point in your career or a certain point in your like learning, you get to a point where like you, not that you know everything that's going to be in the book, but like it's more, you're a faster learner than the book can give you, unless it's going to be like algorithms and data structures, you know, that you really like. What is that book called that you read for all the big interviews? I can't remember what that's called. But like I read that through very, very slowly. So for algorithms and data structures, which I interview a lot of people. So for that, it's really, really important that I get all those things right. But like for learning a new thing, usually I'll read it and then I'll try it. And then I'll usually make some sort of sample project because then I want to see how it scales. This is what we did at GitLab.
Learn by do.
I was like, okay, I want to do Vue because it looks like a cool thing. So I went out and I made like an entire completely separate web app. It's like 100,000 line web app. And it actually wound up turning into a business that's like now profitable.
Wow.
It still uses like Vue 0.12 or something like that. It's just still sitting in that old version, but that's what I did first. And then I could come to the table and be like, yeah, this thing's really good. Not just like here, but it'll work like long-term. It'll work, it'll scale well. And there wasn't any Vuex at the time when we started with Vue.
Wow.
So yeah, or maybe it like had just come out and people were like, what is this thing?
Like, let's not yet. Or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what are you most excited about like after your talk, I guess? Like, are you excited to like be able to breathe and not like, you know, freak out about your talk, I guess?
Doesn't seem stressed at all.
You really don't. But like
I really enjoy, no comment. Yeah. It's some other antics. No. I really like, I'm just excited to be here with all like the other really incredible speakers. And I just love picking their brains on things and just talking to them about the stuff. Like I love talking to Anjar about Keynote. I want them to make a whole series on Keynote so they can show us all the secret sauce of how they do that stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I think like in his talk, he has the gears moving. I just want to know like how people.
It's going to be keynote mastery. He said he's going to do.
Yeah. I think that's
you
good.
heard it here first.
Yep.
How did you actually get involved with the conference?
So let's see. Well, so I started at GitLab, and then GitLab was originally like jQuery and Rails. And then at a certain point, we started researching Vue, and I wrote a couple articles on Vue. Those articles became like really, really popular at a time when like not as many people were doing that. And so we were like, not the first, but like we were one of the like originals, maybe not pioneers, but like we did write a lot of docs on Vue and like how we do Vue. And I think people look to those because we had a very large application using Vue, and it was like, how do you do this? And it was at a time when nobody was really doing that. And so then they asked me to speak at the first conference in Poland, which was like 3 years ago. And Yeah. So
Oh, that's so cool.
Now
Yeah.
you're a vet.
yeah, I'm an old school.
And what's that like speaking in an I assume your English primary language?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, was it like doing a talk at another country? Is there a language barrier that occurs at all, or?
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on. I feel like most of the people that come to these conferences, even if the country might not, because like every country has a different like percentage of people that speak English as a primary
Makes
thing.
sense.
But like I went to Sao Paulo, Brazil, for their Vue conference, and they like because I put a lot of jokes in they laughed the hardest, at all the jokes that I wrote, which was like, oh, it was it's more that than anything else because like humor is different in different countries. Humor in like England is different than humor in Brazil.
I don't like to understand British comedies.
Yeah, well, I think
I just don't.
Really?
I don't find them funny.
Yeah, but so that's the thing. Yeah, but I think most of the audience speaks, fluent English is when they come. That's what it seems like when I get to meet people and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, JavaScript is essentially written in English.
Yes.
So I mean, it's easier to learn JavaScript, by learning English kind of together.
It's an interesting thing because there are like a lot of different, at least like, so I've been programming for a long time. I've been programming for like about 12, 13 years. And back in the day, I used to write a lot of like ActionScript and Flash stuff, which I still love. I think it's great. I don't write it anymore, but I still think it was a great thing. No matter how much you tell me that Flash is horrible. But what we used to do is we used to decompile, like you see a game online and we used to decompile it using one of these things. And then I would look in there and then you would find out that like the developers were like Italian. And so the whole thing is like the variable names would be written in Italian, but then the rest of the code is written in English. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because you can't, like you have to do .apply, but like the variable names would be in Italian or like, because you could technically write it in Hebrew, even though it's a different character set, so they would do that,
Well, I never thought about it like that.
It's really beautiful, especially like when you're working with other like remote people who speak a different language than you, that have experience coding in JavaScript or Ruby even, right?
Yeah.
And they like you hear them speak for the first time instead of just like Slack messages or HipChat or whatever, and it's like, wow, your English is like amazing. And they're like, I literally learned English from coding. Like that's the coolest thing ever.
We have a ton of people at GitLab, like the front end team that we put together is from like all different parts of the world. And we do have a hard requirement that you speak English fluently because it's the way that we communicate.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Which makes sense. But like I think people's ability to learn English, which is because I don't know any other languages, and I've tried to learn several languages. JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. HTML, no, it's not. But I've tried to learn Spanish a couple of times. I know a little bit of Hebrew, but like, their ability to speak English really fluently when it's not, that they don't go home and speak English. That they're only speaking it at work. It's like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I've heard Italian is easiest to learn, not to go completely off on a tangent, but because it's pronounced exactly how it looks.
Oh, is it?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, there's only like 3 or 4 words, right? There's like spaghetti.
Oh, don't be a racist.
Oh, gosh.
What did you say?
I'm Italian. I could say that.
What did you say the last one?
Tortellini.
You're being
Is that how you pronounce it?
Tortellini. I'm Italian. I can say those things.
I'm not broken.
I'm sorry, listeners.
That's it. That's really it.
Yeah.
So, how is the best way people could get a hold of you? What's your website? What's your Twitter handle? And we'll obviously put it in the show notes, but for our audio listeners.
So I'm on Twitter at Jake Codes.
Okay.
And I have a website, jacobschatz.com, but it's it just says like Jacob Schatz is here. Yeah. I don't have time to update a website, but
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I feel like most people's websites nowadays are like, one time I set up a website and that was 5 years ago.
I feel like
You're
if you're gonna,
welcome.
I think blogs need to come back, and they're slowly coming back. People are realizing that, hey, maybe putting everything that is about me on a platform doesn't really help me. Maybe I should come back and
When platforms change.
and be be me on my own thing. I like that.
Yeah, same. Well, hey man, thank you so
It was
much
great
for being
talking
on the
with you.
show.
You're the best.
Yeah,
I
thanks so
like you
much.
a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks everybody for
Thanks,
watching.
everybody.
We got a lot more coming up.
Toodles.
Toodles and noodles.